Hey guys, it's Pete Carney from Adventures by Carney. On today's episode, from the Tiger King on Netflix, Jeff and Lauren Lowe are on the show. We find out, did Carol kill her husband? Is Jeff really Don Lewis? And did Joe tell him he was dying of HIV? Stay tuned. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. This is Adventures by Carney. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. I am super excited to have on the show today two probably the biggest stars around the planet at this very moment from Tiger King, Jeff and Lauren Lowe. What's up, guys? How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey.
I'm excited to have you on. Yeah, same here. Good to see you guys. So I'm sure it's been a whirlwind the last 3 weeks. What is your sleeping schedule like right now?
Look at these eyes. Look at these eyes. What is sleep?
What percentage of your day goes towards, because you guys are still running a zoo full time, so what percentage of your day goes towards taking care of the cats in the zoo and literally dealing with the media onslaught that you have received?
Oh, God.
You know what? We have a really good crew, so I could take a whole day off and they wouldn't miss me out there. But this morning we worked a couple hours and took care of cats and probably have done 3 or 4 hours of interviews before yours.
Wow. That seems intense. So are you guys now set up full-time down in Oklahoma?
Well, we've been here, ever since we took the zoo over in 2016. We've been at this same place. But for the last 2 years, we've been building and constructing a new zoo, still in Oklahoma, but it's behind the WinStar Casino, closer to the Texas-Oklahoma border.
Okay, and now we talked about this a little before we went on the air because I was confused too, but if you could break down for me, because I know you guys took over the GW Zoo, then there's the Greater Wynnewood, and then it was going to be Oklahoma Zoo. Now we're at the Tiger King Park. Walk me through that process.
Well, when Joe owned the zoo, it was the GW Zoo. He filed bankruptcy on the GW Zoo and then named it the Gerald Wayne Interactive Zoo so he could keep it away from Carol's judgment. She had the $1 million judgment against him.
Well, plus he's going broke.
Yeah, so when he completely ran out of money, he closed down the Gerald Wayne Interactive Zoological Park. And Lauren and I came in, we founded new corporations, and we opened the Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park. And the reason we named it such an absurd name was the DOT signs that you pay $40,000 for still said GW Exotic Animal Park. So we just went out one night, I was laying in bed, and I thought, you know what, Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park, it saves us $40,000 off the top. So that's what we went with. Now, the new zoo that we were constructing in Thackerville behind the casino was going to be called the Oklahoma Zoo, and we were going to kind of play off the Oz abbreviation. Mm-hmm. Well, and then when the Tiger King came out, we recognized the opportunity to kind of capitalize on its popularity, and it's now going to be called the Tiger King Park, and it will be the official park of all the cats that Joe abandoned to our care. And we will market that park to pay for and merchandise that park to pay and to care for all these cats for the next 20 years.
Wow. And you said it was over 160 cats, you were telling me?
Joe left 160. Yeah. He was trying to kill 26 more, like just days before we threw him out the park. Yeah. He thought we were up near Oklahoma City going to see a movie. And we went about 10 miles and we changed our mind. We just didn't want to stay out late. So we came back to the park, and Joe had a whole squad of people here, and including his vet, to euthanize 26 more animals. And when we went out there and found him, he had 2 dead on a trailer. And I got in his face. I about killed him that day. And we threw him off the park. That was the last straw. So we saved 22. Yeah, 24 of the 26 that he had earmarked for death that night. But we had 30 cats of our own, so we're talking 190 cats that depend on us every day. And
sweet, sassy, molassy. That is a lot of cats. And on top of, I'm sure, other animals too, because, you guys are going for a full zoo. So it's not just going to be a cat preserve. You want to talk about, what else are you guys, is there other stuff that he had or other animals you're bringing in? Are you trading with other zoos? How is this process happening?
We're planning to build a nicer reptile facility. I'd like to have some more reptiles, even though he's not too fond of snakes. People love that stuff, you know. So,
but you know, Joe had camels, and we had zebras and
we wanna get
bears.
more of those.
You know, we had other things besides cats. You know, all the small animals and the fisher cats and the otters and things like that. Kangaroos. Wow. So, you know, we've got quite the menagerie here.
All right, so I mean, I'm gonna, since we're already talking about the zoo, I have more zoo questions. Then we're gonna go backwards. But in terms of the zoo right now, I mean, obviously this whole COVID crisis, maybe the reason why the show is so popular is everyone is watching. But I'm sure that is hurting you guys. You guys, obviously, just from the numbers you just gave me, over 250 animals, we'll say at least. How is this taking an effect financially? Are you going to make back, I mean, with the fame of Tiger King, some of that money, or are you guys just bleeding money every day with guests not being allowed out of their homes?
Well, you know what? It's always difficult, and that's why Joe was selling so many tiger cubs, is because he built this place in the middle of nowhere and expected it to be Disneyland, and that's just unreasonable. And that's part of the reason we're moving it down towards Dallas, because our demographic is that Dallas population. 80% of the people that visit the park are from Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, you know, we're shaving off an hour of their commute to visit us, but being behind the world's largest casino is not going to hurt. We'll just get the overflow from the casino guests. But it's, you know, it costs us probably $10,000 a week to feed everybody.
Wow.
So when we're shut down, it's difficult. And we've been making it up. You know, we've funded this place out of our own personal bank account for years. And it's, but the Cameo videos are helping us tremendously. So if anybody wants to go get us on Cameo, you know, we've done 500 Cameo videos in the last week. So
get out of here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know who's bigger on Cameo. You guys just got on there, and Mike Tyson just got on Cameo. I mean, you guys.
Really? That'd be funny.
Yeah,
we're much cheaper.
I was gonna say you speak clearer. Some of his videos have been very funny.
It's been ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
Yeah, you handle your L's beautifully, let me add. All right, so you brought up your bank account, and I'm sure you've gotten this across the board. I did a little bit of research, but you kind of just show up on the show, you know, not guns a-blazing, probably the only people not guns a-blazing, but you have beautiful vehicles. Lauren jumps out looking fine. You're talking, they're flashing to all these beautiful women in Vegas and the bright lights. And they never really give us any background on where it came from. And maybe you could clear some of this up. There's 3 things I read. One of them I find hysterical, so I'll present all 3. One is I heard that you did work, and you do wear the biker jacket, so I'm curious if this is close. Like Evel Knievel and a lot of those more stunt acts when you were in Vegas. There's another thing that you knew Prince, and you worked with Prince. And then the third one is that you are Carol Baskin's ex-husband. You just ran away. You are him. You changed your look up, that you are Dom, and you're just living the dream. You're coming back full circle. So do you want to clear any of those 3 up?
2 of the 3 are accurate.
Okay. So you're done. Prince. And what's the other one?
And I love Prince.
Oh, no. That's the sign that if I ask a bad question, well, thanks for watching,
That was
everyone.
Don Lewis. That was Don Lewis saying, all right, fuck
that was the ghost of Don Lewis.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that clears that up. I blame Carol. She knocked over the camera.
It's Carol's fault. Carol Baskin did it. Carol did it.
That bitch Carol Baskin's knocked over the camera.
That bitch, Carol Baskin.
Are we still framed? Are we framed the same?
Yeah, you're framed well and you're lit well.
The second husband, her first husband's missing too.
No, so I did work with the Knievel family for many years and would book most of Robbie's jumps later in his career are attributed to me. He'd kind of given up, I think, and he needed a bump. So I'd never done that kind of thing before, and I started calling everybody who I could think of to book him shows, and it just started working really, really well.
So you basically became his promoter, manager, business manager. Like, did you just take over his life? Like, what role did you play for him?
I was his babysitter.
Okay,
you know,
fair enough.
Robbie and I are the same age, and he was one of those individuals, kind of like Joe. He had his own personal demons and had real issues with trust in people. And I just came in and I started working for free. I just wanted to be part of the Knievel story because as a child, I met Evel Knievel when I was 10 years old, and it was just if you didn't grow up in the 70s, you have no idea how big Evel Knievel was. I mean, he could stop time, and people would stop whatever they're doing and watch him on Wild World of Sports or whatever. So it was amazing to me to meet him as a kid, and then later in life grow up to work with him and Robbie. And it's something I would never change, but as I look back at it now, it was just insanity. I mean, you're just basically babysitting. Evel knew how to conduct business, and he knew how to have fun. And opposed to Robbie. Robbie was just, I was a babysitter, and he cost us more work than we were getting because of his behavior, and but
call me crazy, but I kind of see a trend here, Jeff. You found a guy that was more work than it was worth. You had to babysit him. Looking back, you're not sure if you would have done it again. Are you talking about Joe Exotic or Robbie Knievel here? Because it seems you come in, you're the Lamborghini Prince Charming. You come in, you're like, I'm going to save the zoo. This is a question, I'm sure you've gotten this, and you don't have to go on forever about it, but like, what drove you to want to be a part of Joe Exotic's life and or zoo? Like, what brought you from, it seems like you just flew from Vegas, let me rent a Hummer, drive right in there, and I'm just going to hang out with this crazy redneck guy.
Now, what here in the Reader's Digest version is Lauren and I were living in that great big house in Colorado, having a great indoor time. I mean, a beautiful, beautiful place, $4 million house with an indoor pool. We had the Ferraris. We had the life that we wanted in Colorado. I was about to purchase a zoo that was 2 miles from that house, and Joe had heard about me buying this zoo in Colorado it's a close community, this private zoo industry. So he contacted me and wanted to give me his personal opinion on what needed to be changed to bring it in compliance. So I flew him and his husband to Colorado.
The third husband, Travis.
The third husband, which is who? Do we know who the third husband was? Travis is the third husband. Okay.
Yeah. So they came out there, and we showed him a grand time and skydiving and everything else. On the way back to the airport, Joe asked if he could take us to a steak dinner. And that's when he showed me pictures on his phone of his face all disfigured and swelled up. And he said that his organs were shutting down. He was 2 days from death when this picture was taken. That he told me at the time he was HIV positive and would not live another 2 years. What? Would I come and save his zoo? So I was leasing the mansion in Colorado because I didn't know if this zoo would work out or not. I had prepaid a year's lease on this place, and we left it in 3 months, and the house sat there empty. So the notion that I came here and stole the zoo from Joe is so stupid. I mean, it's obvious that nobody listened to the show if they think that the lifestyle we were living in Vegas and in Colorado, and then we moved to Wynnewood, Oklahoma to be Joe Exotic's next door neighbor, was just ridiculous. But when we came here to check out the place, we saw how much need there was here for his animals. It wasn't Joe Exotic. He was a pimp, and he was just pimping out these cats to make money and to keep his boyfriends and his husbands,
Yeah, see, that's the funny part is that like the documentary kind of spins it where like we're not sure where you got your money financially, but we also have no idea how Joe is staying afloat every single day. Like the guy seems like he's lower than paycheck to paycheck, trying to sell whatever it may be just to make a few bucks, and then he's running for government. We had no idea where this money was coming from.
It came from me.
Yeah, that's what he stole it from us.
He stole about $150,000 out of my bank account to fund his political aspirations and buy condoms and yard signs and T-shirts. When there's a $2,700 political contribution limit that any given business can give to a political candidate, so he'd stolen 150, 160 grand out of here, and then forged my name to another $50,000 in cash checks, and took it to the bank, and the bank knew who he was, so he would endorse my name on the back of a check that was made out to me. And the bank just handed him the cash out of my account. He was not even a signer on our bank account. So, the small town business was just looked the other way, and they knew him for 23 years. They just didn't care.
It's wild that the stories keep growing because now it's like a Catch Me If You Can where he's forging checks. I see him with a little stamper with a little tiger claw and then signing your name. It's out of control. Lauren, let me ask you a question. What was it like living through all this? Like, was there nights where you're laying in bed next to Jeff and you're just like, what the flip are we doing right now?
I guess so.
Or are you just supportive the whole way? Like, yeah, this guy's abusing cats. We should totally buy it. We can rescue all these cats. Or is it like, we should have nothing to do with them. This is a dumpster fire.
We didn't know he was abusing cats in that sense. We knew he was selling cubs. Those were his cats, whatever. They were not in our name. But we got really tired and sick of his crap, like within the first year. I mean, it was sooner than that, but that was when we found out it was our chance to leave and move to Vegas and hopefully start fresh elsewhere. And because Joe had run it for so long and we felt like our animals were in such safe hands, which was a very big mistake, we come back and found out that he was doing all these horrible things, killing cats left and right. And, you know, if things didn't happen the way they did, and sadly cats did already lose their lives, Joe would still be doing the things he was doing if we didn't come back.
Wow. All right, so let me ask you some questions that I'm sure you've gotten, but I have to just ask them. When we're talking about Carol Baskins, which we have to, Carol Baskin, is she still a problem for you guys? Because, I mean, like, she seems like this crusader that's going after every tiger park around the country, if not the planet, and you guys are still, you know, technically you still own the zoo and you're moving it and you're in the process of doing all this stuff. Is she still an issue or a problem, or that since you guys are doing a whole new facility, is she kind of backed off? What's your current relationship with Carol Baskin?
We've never had a relationship with Carol Baskin. The first time she ever learned of me, she called me an animal abuser on her 911 animal abuse webpage. Oh, she actually put a picture of my family's home in South Carolina at the top and said, "Animal abuser Jeff Lowe, you know, breeding cubs and letting people handle cubs." So why would she put a picture of my home on her hate page if it wasn't to incite someone to vandalize my home or to hurt my family?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of bitch that this woman is. And she's never been a threat to me. You heard what I called her in the phone call.
Yeah.
And I've known all along what a hypocrite this woman was. And she's a threat to people who are too big a coward to stand up to her. And that's not me. I've never backed down from anything or anyone, and particularly not that two-faced bitch. So I never considered Carol a threat like Joe. She had $1 million judgment against Joe, you know, so, and she tried to actually have that judgment conveyed to me, accusing me of being an alter ego identity of Joe by opening up a new zoo. And you know what, she's got her hands full right now. There's tons and tons of tips coming into the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department now. And we provided
the case. I'm Florida based, so I mean, even on our local news, they're like, if you have anything, they reopen the case. Right. So that's kind of was the big news down here a few weeks ago when they decided to reopen the case after the show aired.
Well, you know, everybody's been calling me a snitch. I mean, I get my number got leaked on the documentary. It showed my cell phone number, and I just started answering people and sending videos to some of them, and then it blew up. So, but you know, half of them are supportive and half of them are just, you know,
asinine.
Yeah, dumbasses, and you know, calling me a snitch and a rat. I want to ask those people is if I knew what Carol did with Don Baskin and I kept it to myself, what would those people think? I bet you everyone in America, if they knew that I knew what happened to Don, they would want me to expose it. And I've exposed what I do know to a Hillsborough County Sheriff deputy this morning. And I think it's
so very recent. Why now? Can I ask why you waited so long?
Well, because it was kind of
we already spoke to the person before.
It was kind of a rumor, and it ties somebody who was also in the animal industry and lost a license that is now or was very recently working with Carol. And the only explanation could be is she had something on him or he had something on her. So it's what Joe believed all along, that this person was involved, and it's a pretty good tip, and I think you'll hear something come out of it.
I'm looking out because literally one of my questions, which I was about to get to, is what do you think actually happened to Don? Can you give any of that away? I mean, I don't want to. I mean, people have all theories all across the whole show. There's a bunch of theories. Is there a theory that you like yourself, or something that you could tell us?
You know what? I think that Don was planning to divorce Carol and leave her high and dry, and she discovered that, and I think that she found somebody to help her to kill Don and to help her dispose of the body. And I think that the stories that have been told are pretty accurate. I think that some of the tips that we provided might crack the case.
Wow.
That's my personal feeling.
And this has just happened this morning.
Well, you know what? I've known it since Joe was arrested, because Joe had a file cabinet in his office that was four drawers full of documents that he had accumulated over the years on Carol. And Joe and I have talked about it several times, about his belief of who did it and who helped her. And I just kind of kept it under, my hat because a lot of things that Joe said were just outlandish. But now that this has all happened and so many tips are coming in, I thought it might help the police if this other tip, or if my tip matches any of these other tips that's coming in. I think it helps kind of corroborate the story.
Wow. I'm excited to see where this comes from. I mean, again, I get some of the local news here, so I get, this is exciting stuff. Speaking of local, Carol Baskin, I'm here in Orlando. Carol Baskin's place is over in Tampa. And I was going to say, I had my Jeff Lowe look today. I also was prepared for the Lauren look as well. I was going to go with the full Lauren, the flannel as well. So I came prepared, but I noticed you had a Disney shirt on. And let me ask you, since I am here in Orlando, Walt Disney World around the corner, Disney, when they first opened up their zoo, got a lot of flack. And it's not a zoo. They call it a conservation area, right, or a preservation area with their Disney's Animal Kingdom. What precautions? I'll ask you a two-part question. One, I don't know, have you guys ever been to the Animal Kingdom here at Disney?
I have.
I have not. I've always wanted to go.
So Jeff, let me ask you first. What do you think of the way they take care of their tigers? Do they give them enough room? Are you happy with that? Is that what the standard should be? Are they not doing enough? Are they doing too much? What's your opinion there?
You know what? I would never criticize Disney because I've been there several times and I see the money that they spend. They've got an unlimited budget. I mean, yeah. They've got more money than God, and they spend it wisely. I think people exaggerate the space that a tiger needs, because a tiger, sure, if you give them 1,000 miles, they're going to roam 1,000 miles. If you give them 100 acres, they're going to roam 100 acres. These animals are born in captivity. There's no longer cats being pulled out of the wild. I think that's cruel. If you pull a cat out of Siberia and stick him in a cage in Orlando, that's tough. But these animals are born in captivity, just like you and I are born in the houses and the neighborhoods we live in, and we don't go much further, except on special occasions. We are all the same, we all have hearts and we all have the same brains and curiosities. And I just think that if you treat them nice, you give them good medical care, you feed them properly, and
give them love,
you're protecting them from poaching. There's a reason that they're diminishing. The numbers are diminishing in the wild, and they're not diminishing in these parks.
Yeah,
everyone says there's a tiger. There's a tiger problem in America because there's too many tigers. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we had that problem in Asia?
The wild, we don't.
And
Disney does a fantastic job. They got a beautiful facility.
That's what I was going to say too, and Disney takes that very proudly with all their animals, whether it's the gorillas. They had Jane Goodall there in the beginning, and everything else. So I was curious what someone else who has a tiger park thought of the way Disney takes care of them. Now, are you going to go after some of those? I don't know what you would call them, but like acknowledgments or commendations where like you are going to be a conservation area or preservation. Are you a zoo? Like how does that work in your world?
Well, we are a zoo. We're a roadside zoo, and okay. I don't run from that moniker like a lot of people do. We're a zoo next to a road, just like the Dallas Zoo is a zoo next to a road. So they've just got taxpayer-funded dollars to spend, and we have to earn everything that we spend. So it's tough for us to compete with them. And I think what our advantage over them is you can walk up 3 feet from a tiger at our park. And typically, if you go to the San Diego Zoo or the Dallas Zoo, you're looking at a tiger that's 200 yards away. So I think a lot of people enjoy the fact that they can get so close to our animals that they even get peed on. The tigers will spray them.
Yeah, people love that.
I think that's what should be on the billboards. Come get peed on by a tiger. Exit 19, past the McDonald's. Yeah.
And we actually used to sell gift shop or T-shirts that said "I got peed on by a tiger," because a couple people on every tour would get peed on by a tiger.
Yeah,
that's hysterical.
Conservation is very important, and I would breed as many as I could breed if I thought that they could be released in the wild and survive. And I think it's ridiculous for groups like PETA to speak out against these facilities breeding. It's an endangered species. Why would you not want to repopulate as many as you possibly can, as long as they can be cared for? And if we could release them back into the wild, it would be amazing. It's just not practical.
Yeah, the government won't allow it.
So are you for regulation when it comes to tiger or anti-regulation? Because do you don't want the roadside zoos like Joe Exotic, like you guys mentioned, where he's euthanizing tigers or not doing the right thing, they're not getting the right meals. So in one respect, are you pro-regulation? Also now with the way regulations are, where you can't have tigers privately, are you kind of anti-regulation? Where do you fall on that scale?
It's a tough dilemma for all of us, because I was a private owner when I was young, and my family owned a circus. So we had animals that were regulated, but right now, I don't want my neighbor. That's why we don't sell tigers to guys like you. If you wanted to come here and buy a tiger, Joe would have sold you a tiger for $2,000. Right. Yeah, you can come pet ours, but you just don't realize the care that's involved and the danger that's involved once they turn 4 years old. You got a 600-pound tiger. Wow. If I took you out here and you heard him fight, you'd know you don't want a tiger. It's a scary, scary animal. But you know what? It's not more about banning it and regulating. It's about who the person is that's caring for it. And Joe knew his animals. He didn't have many escape. He had a couple get out, but
that was Joe, not us.
Yeah.
you have to protect human life, and the greed or the ego boost that having a tiger might give these guys is not a good reason to have a cat. So I think they need to be regulated. I think the country should know that Jeff has 200 tigers, that Lauren has 100 tigers. I don't think that should be just a number that falls off the edge of the earth and no one knows. And right now, no one knows. Nobody actually knows how many tigers are in Texas, for instance. And I think that's probably not wise. I think there should be some accounting of it, and they should probably all be chipped. So if one gets out, we know who the careless owners are. But, a complete ban is it's just sealing the fate of these guys forever. It's just a stamp of extinction. And, it's just not, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with a complete ban.
I got you. All right. So I know we're way over time. I'm going to just rapid fire. These are listener questions that we acquired knowing we were going to be on the air with you guys. You can go quick answers, and then I'll get you out of here. Do you have a favorite Joe Exotic song?
No.
No. We had to listen to that shit all the time. Next.
Do either of you wear tiger print underwear?
I actually do.
Oh God, that.
No, okay. It's not as bad, but I do.
No.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So a yes and a no. What is your favorite place in Vegas?
Oh.
Hakkasan.
Well, yeah, the Strip is nice, but I like Mount Charleston.
Oh, okay.
If you go outside of Las Vegas, it's like you're in Montana. You've got lots of hiking trails. It's beautiful.
All right. I've been to Hakkasan, but I've not been there, so thank you for the tip.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite go-to cocktail, drink, or beverage?
I like White Russians. Chocolate martinis are good.
Green tea.
Green teas are great. The drink, not the shot.
Rumpelman shots for me.
Rumpelman shots with the green tea beverage, not the green tea shot. Let's make sure we get this right.
Yes.
Your thoughts on tigers getting coronavirus? What?
I'm just going to say BS on that one.
Yeah, our vets, we asked our vets if it's possible before this thing ever was announced out of Brooklyn. They said no. Once it was diagnosed with it and announced on CNN, I went back to my vet. I said, what the hell? And she says, we don't believe it. We want to see how they test it. So Kind
Yeah,
of
that's
up
the
in the
Bronx.
air.
That's the Bronx Zoo up in New York, where I'm from. New York. I worked in the city, so it's 100% a Bronx, New York thing. We have our own diseases and our own doctors.
Right.
What actors would play you in a movie? And I know you've gotten this before, but now you have time to think about it. What actors would you want playing you?
I like Isla Fisher, but I just recently thought of someone else. Hey, who is that other person you mentioned? It's the girl from Riverdale, the redhead.
The redhead from Riverdale. I'll have to look that up.
Okay.
Jeff?
I've heard Woody Harrelson. I think he'd be pretty cool.
Oh, Harrelson would be perfect. Nanny, super hot. We've talked about this. We all know she is a very attractive woman.
Nanny.
Yep. I shouldn't call her Nanny. Does she have, what's her real name?
Yes.
Her real name is Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah.
Masha.
Hi, Sarah. Oh, with the baby. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Sarah and
Sarahs.
Sarah.
Sarah squared.
Yeah.
I love it. So here's the question, Sarah. I'll just direct it right towards you. Besides being the nanny and being around all these cool cats and kittens, I mean, do you get to have some fun romantically with this beautiful couple as well? Let's just put it
They're
out
my
there.
best friends. Oh.
I mean, I hook up with my best friends too. Is that what you're saying? That this is a best friend relationship?
I mean, a little more alcohol, and Just kidding.
Okay, we'll get some of those White Russians or green tea drinks, maybe a couple of Rumpelman shots.
Lots of cuddle puddles.
We do have cuddle puddle nights. Like we're actually like best friends. We go back all the way back to Vegas.
Oh,
We
wow.
lived
So
in
how many
Vegas
years is
together.
that?
3.
Yeah, we've been best friends for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
we all lived together in Vegas. Lots of friends over. Lots of cuddle puddles.
So for those who don't know, what is a cuddle puddle?
Like literally, we will actually all lay in the bed together watching TV.
Yeah.
Like and just all
As
hang out.
many people can fit in a bed, and we all.
We're all just cuddling with the big blankets. Everything's nice.
Are we still cuddling with cats since they're around? Do we get tigers in the bed still?
Occasionally, yeah.
As long as they don't, claw at your face.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right, I love it. Well, that's all I have. I want to thank you guys for your time. Is there anything else you guys want for everyone out there watching to know?
Well, other than a lot of people are upset, that we are confused as to why we have changed the name from Oklahoma Zoo to Tiger King Park. Tiger King Park is not, or Tiger King is not a person. It's a story, and we want to embrace that and take it on because that's for these animals. It's not for us. It's for the animals and for their care. So
And it makes sense, much easier to find. So if you Google it or you want to find it on your next road trip or trip, once this is all over, looking up Tiger King Park is much easier to remember than what was that state again? That's kind of near Dallas. There's too many over
something
there.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And why not capitalize on the pain that we lived through with Joe Exotic and turn something negative into a positive for his animals. He abandoned 160 cats here, and feeding those guys is no small task.
It's a lot of work.
All right. Well, next time I'm out there, you're going to see my face. I'll come say hi. And next time you're at Disney, you guys got to hit me up, and I'll show you around Disney as well. Deal?
Awesome.
Sounds great.
Thank
Thank you
buddy.
so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Thanks so much. That is Jeff and Lauren Lowe and Sarah Squared. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Well, that's it, guys. Full interview with Jeff and Lauren Lowe from the Tiger King. Super cool to have them on. Big thanks again. And if you guys could do me a huge favor, please it will really help. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe. You get to see all my videos. I'm always doing crazy stuff. I got more coming out soon. And comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what your favorite part was or anything you want. Write me a comment. Drop me a line. Say hi. And please share with your friends and family. This was super cool to get them on the show. With that being said, that's it. My name is Pete Carney. Thank you so much. Be kind to one another and wash your damn hands.